Today's task is about graph database Neo4j. Neo4j is a very popular graph database in industry. So today we're going to see how graph database Neo4j works and how we retrieve data, retrieve some result from graph data by using Neo4j Cipher queries. Okay, so we're going to use a service provided by Neo4j called Sandbox. It's a free service. So firstly, we need to access the sandbox by this URL. So you can copy this URL to your browser. Yeah, here. Okay. So then next step, we need to launch the free sandbox. So you can see a button here. You can just launch the free the sandbox to launch this service. So it might take time. So before that, you might be asked to before that, yeah, you might be asked to access service with your account. So of course you can apply for account for Neo4j Sandbox, but you can also use your existing Google, Twitter, or LinkedIn account. So it's up to you. So you can use your existing Google account to access service. So you can see some toy database actually. So firstly, we require you to select movie this graph database. Okay, it just you can click the create here, so you can generate a graph database about movies. It's a collection of some films, some actors or directors. Okay. Okay, so if you see that page, that information, that means you have accessed the database. But it might take some time. You might see some information that indicating that the connection is not successful. But you just wait a few seconds or a few minutes, then you can see that information. That indicates it had been connected to the database moving database. Okay, so next up, we're gonna execute the queries over this moving database with some Cipher language, Cipher queries, this kind of language over the graph database, Neo4j. Okay, so we can see that some queries here. The first we copy the queries. The result, the meaning of the query is for returning all the movies that were released after the year 2000 and limiting the result to 5 items. So this is the meaning of this query. And so we can copy this query to here. You can see some here. And you can execute this query. So you can see some result here, right? And each entity here, this circle here, indicating movie, right, after 2000 here. Okay, so you can see this is a graphical, something, right? Then if you want to say something in tables, you can click here. You can see that the result are in tables, or if you want to see something in text, you can click here. Okay, so that's quite useful, right? And then you can go further. You can see the next query. We're gonna see another query is for return all personnels who directed a movie that was released after 2010, right? Okay, so you can see that. We can copy the query here and execute. Yeah, so you can see a graph, right? So this is the person, right? And this is the person who directed this movie, right? Yeah, and so you can see the result. That's quite interesting, right? So you can visualize the result. So that's one good benefit of graph database. You can see the result in the format of graph, right? and quite easy to understand for users. Okay, so you can go further we have a lot of queries here. So you can, for this one, it just return only person knows, limiting the answer, the result to 20 items. Okay, you can see some result here. And this is a query, return all kinds of nodes and just return 20 items. Okay. So what you need to do now is just copy each query to the sandbox, this here, and to say what you have got from the graph database. Yeah. So for example, I think this one, I'm going to show that in this one. So this query actually finding nodes with match and where clause. There you can see that different features also cycle queries. And this query just will return a person node with property name, as the Tom Hanks, right? So you can see the result here. So you can you can see, right? And you can expand the nodes close to Tom Hanks, right? Right, you can click this here, right, to see different, nodes, right? Right. So that's quite interesting. Okay. Okay, so you can just try all kind of queries, including this one is much more complicated because you have to create a relationship between nodes or retrieving some kind of relationships between different nodes, right? So you can see that there are a lot of queries. So you try to execute every query and try to understand each query, what the results going to be returned. Okay, so this is the main task of today. Okay. So you can find some very complicated queries, right? You can't find formulate this kind of query, finding 3 hops relationships between the movie actors and this guy, right? You can't formulate this kind of query in a traditional relational databases, right? But in graph database you can do that. You can do that with finding some interesting relationship with 3 hops between 2 entities, right, with this kind of query. So that's quite useful to retrieve some data from graph database. Okay, so that's the task. Hope you can enjoy the task of today. Okay, thank you.